There is no one in the creation who can claim that he is not controlled. Everyone, regardless of how important or powerful, has a controller over his head. Krishna, however, has no controller. Therefore, he is God. So if we will see around ourselves, we will find that every person is controlled by someone. Even a prime minister of a country is controlled by other people. Just suppose prime minister, he also consume food, so he is dependent on the farmers or the grocery shopkeepers who deliver goods or grocery items at his place. So he is dependent, thus he is also controlled. Until and unless that shopkeeper will not deliver the items to his home, he will not be able to consume the food. So everyone is controlled. No one can say that I'm not controlled. He's always dependent on someone. But Krishna, if we talk about Krishna, Krishna is the supreme controller, and there is no one beyond him. So I often think about this thing that there will always be a superior person to whom which there will be no one who will be controlling him, because he will be the supreme person, and that supreme person is Krishna. So it is very much difficult for people to accept this thing, that how can only one person be a supreme controller. But this is definite that there will always be a one supreme person who is supremely controlling this universe, and he is not being controlled by anyone because he is supreme. So that supreme person is Krishna. He is God. He is the controller of everyone, but there is no one superior to him, no one to control him, nor is there anyone equal to him, no one to share his platform of absolute control. This may sound very strange, for there are many so called gods nowadays. Indeed, gods have become very cheap, being specially imported from India. People in other countries are fortunate that gods are not manufactured there. But in India, gods are manufactured practically every day. Now, what does that mean? The very first thing to discuss is that you will see it is very much easy for the people who are there in Western countries to accept Krishna as supreme personality. Why? Because those people are not confused. If we talk about India, so you will see people are so much confused here. They they basically assume that all are one, demigods and God, all are one. Even when we were not Krishna conscious, we were also assuming this same thing, that all are one, all are God. If fortunately you were not born in Vaishnava family, then your parents will definitely tell you that Krishna is God. But if you will see this ordinarily, if we talk about this thing, people assume this thing only. They have this assumption that all are one. Whether you worship this demigod, that demigod, that messenger, all are one. But this is not true. So that's why you will see it is little difficult to convince people of India that supreme personality of Godhead is Krishna. Now this is really not ordinary thing, because it is very much difficult for people to accept this thing, because they have been hearing this from the very starting, from the very childhood, that all are God. You can worship anyone. You will you will get some benefit. You can worship anyone, all are one. It's just they have different incarnations. People speak like this only. But until and unless we will not hear from scriptures, we will not be able to understand this thing. Now, another thing, what Prabhupada ji is saying, that in India, gods are manufactured practically every day. So, if you will see any human being, if he is, showing some tantra mantra, some mystic things, which an ordinary man can't do easily. If he is able to do that particular, whatever, mystic thing, then people will announce that particular person as God. That, oh, only God can do like this. So he is definitely God. That's why Prabhupada ji is saying here that in India, gods are manufactured practically every day. They will show some mystic things, some like magic kind of things, and people will assume those people as God. That God has incarnated as human now, so he is definitely God. Because his activities are not like ordinary people. Just like Prabhuji was giving one example once, that suppose if any Babaji, if he did some Tantra Mantra and he transformed, suppose, mud into wheat, if he has transformed some mud, some sand into wheat. So, by seeing this mystic thing, people will assume that he is definitely God. But this is not true. One should understand this thing, that by performing certain sacrifices, people can get such siddhis. They can do such mystic things, but that doesn't mean that they became God. This is not true. And this is also one thing, that if that particular person has transformed mud into a fist full of wheat, then what is the big deal in that? Or just like some people, they can increase or decrease their size. So, like, they can decrease their size, they can reduce their size, and instead of going out from the gate of the room, they may go out from the hole, the keyhole which is there in the gate, they may go out from there. So, what's the big deal in that? You may also get out from the room by opening the gate simply. But people, just by seeing such mystic things, they assume that that person is God, which is not true. We often hear that God is coming to Los Angeles or New York, and the people are gathering to receive him, etc. But Krishna is not the type of God manufactured in a mystic factory. No, he was not made God, but he is God. Krishna is God from eternal time. It's not like someone has made Krishna as God. So it's not like that ISKCON people has announced or has made Krishna as God. We are actually following scriptures. People don't understand this thing, that we are not speculating something, or people of ISKCON temple, they are not speculating something. They are following scriptures as it is. This is like very easy thing if one can understand that we are not speculating things, we are understanding scriptures and we are repeating scriptures as it is. And that's why it is very much easy for us to follow the process. But for some people, it is very much difficult. We should know then, on the basis of authority, that behind this gigantic material nature, the cosmic manifestation, there is God, Krishna, and that he is accepted by all Vedic authorities. Acceptance of authority is not new for us. Everyone accepts authority. So you will see this, that we are always accepting authorities in some form or another. For education, we go to a teacher or to a school or simply learn from our father or father and mother. They are all authorities, and our nature is to learn from them. So people who often say that we will not accept Guru, but he is actually doing it from the very childhood. Whatever education, whatever knowledge or information we are getting, we are not realizing it by ourselves. We are hearing it from a particular authority and then we are accepting it. So, this is actually not a new thing to hear from authority because we have been doing it from very childhood. Suppose if any parent, he has a kid, so he will definitely, or us also, we definitely wanted to get to take admission in a particular university, an authoritative university, a very nice university where there are qualified teachers, so that we can learn knowledge, we can get education from them nicely. Is it not? People often search for nice universities which have goodwill, so that by studying from those particular universities we may get knowledge nicely and we may basically progress in our career. This is also one thing, that this material knowledge is all scrap. But yeah, this is one example which we can understand, that we have been accepting authorities from the very starting. This is not something new for us. So there are all authorities and our nature is to learn from them. In our childhood, we asked, Father, what is this? And father would say, this is a pen. These are spectacles, or this is a table. In this way, from the very beginnings of life, a child learns from his father and mother. He learns the name of things and the basic relations of one thing to another by questioning his parents. And he has full faith that whatever his father or mother is telling him is correct, it is right. He never doubts that, oh, whether my father or mother is telling me the right thing or not. No, he is accepting it, keeping a very firm faith that yes, my parents are telling me the right thing. He learns the name of things and basic relations of one thing to another by questioning his parents. A good father and mother never cheat when their son inquires from them. They give exact and correct information. Now, very takeaway point from this line is that we should always try to tell as it is things which we hear from scriptures. Suppose if there, like any person, if he is listening from you, you are telling him something about Krishna, about scriptures, and if he is hearing from you. But suppose at some point you are stuck, you are not getting the meaning of particular whatever question or something, and you started speculating now that, yeah, my understanding is this, so you accept this. And okay, that person is believing you, he is accepting from you, but suppose, definitely if you speculated, so definitely that information is wrong, is not correct. And if that particular person now heard from another authority, means from another devotee, definitely, if we heard from him and it is the right information, and later he got to know that the information, the knowledge that you preached him was not right. So now, in his mind, he will, like, definitely he will think that you are cheating with him. And in future, he will never hear from you. So same way, a good devotee never cheat when any person inquires from him. A good devotee give exact and correct information of the scriptures about Krishna. This is very important point. Similarly, if we get spiritual information from an authority, and if the authority is not a cheater, then our knowledge is perfect. If we attempt to reach conclusions by dint of our own speculative powers, however, we are subject to fall into error. So, this is very much important that we preach the knowledge of scriptures as it is, which we heard from, which we heard in disciplic succession. And suppose if you incidentally, if you forgot something, then there is no harm in accepting it, that I'm not getting this, so I will not be able to answer about this. I will first confirm it and then I will let you know. Definitely you can accept it. But if we start speculating, then that is actually not pleasing to Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ji tells this thing, that speculation will not help us to come to the real knowledge. Whatever we speak, it goes in our mind more deep. If we are speaking something false information, then we are actually getting convinced about that particular false information. What is the proof of this? We have been hearing from the very starting that this is my father, this is my mother, this is that, this is this. My only purpose of life is to earn lots and lots of money, to settle in my life, to have a nice family, to have a nice wife. We have been hearing this thing only from the very starting, and we have been like, we were just fixed that, yeah, this is the only purpose of my life. If I will not achieve this, then I will actually waste my whole life. I was actually thinking like this, that if I will not become a fashion designer, then I will really waste my life. I will really waste this human form of life. This human form of life is very rare. And if I am not earning enough, if I'm not earning nice goodwill, then I'm actually wasting my human form of life. So we have been hearing these false things from the very starting, and we have been believing these things from the very starting. We were so much convinced about these things. So speculation will not help us to come to real knowledge. Just like when we are in difficulty, in some legal implication, we go to some authority, a lawyer. Or when we are diseased, we go to a physician. That is also authority. So there is no scope of speculation. There is no use in speculation actually. Suppose if I am in difficulty in some legal implication, if I simply speculate, I shall be free in this way and that way, that will not help. We have to go to a lawyer who know things and he will give us instructions. He will tell us that you do like this, then you will be free. He will basically solve our problem. Similarly, when we are diseased, if we speculate that if we speculate at home that my disease will be cured in this way or in that way, so that is actually useless. We will not be able to cure ourselves, our disease like this. But if we go to an authorized physician and he will give us a nice prescription and we will be cured. So, this is the process of knowledge. But you will see nowadays in modern age, people think that I am free, I am independent, and I can make my own solution. Is it not? I am more like I am talented, I am capable, I can read things by myself and I can understand things by myself. Just like I have started reading Prabhupada 𝗃𝗵𝗵𝗺. So I'm reading it by myself because we have to read it by ourselves only. No any like I can't find any lectures on Prabhupada 𝗃𝗵𝗵𝗺 on YouTube. So even I was facing some difficulty to understand some things. So I was asking those doubts from senior devotees. So we should always do this because we are not free, we are not independent. But we always think like this that I can make my own solution. Prabhupada ji says that this is actually rascaldom. That's not good. Even you will see Arjuna was talking with Krishna as a friend. But when he saw that there was no solution talking like this, he surrendered to Krishna. So this is what we have to do. Instead of speculating things, we have to understand by surrendering to the disciplic succession. Similarly, if we get spiritual information from an authority and if the authority is not a cheater, then our knowledge is perfect. So you will see even in our material education we always need authority. That's why there are schools and colleges. Otherwise textbooks are also available in the market. People can buy and read those books by themselves, but no, they need teacher. In fact, you will see even if they are like regular in school, they are studying from their teachers, but then also they need extra tuition teacher for understanding this material knowledge. Then what to say of this spiritual knowledge? We definitely need a spiritual master for understanding spiritual knowledge. If we attempt to reach conclusions by dint of our speculative powers, however, we are subject to fall into error. Just like you might have tried solving some math problem by yourself. Instead of directly understanding it from teacher, you might have yourself tried to solve a mathematic problem. But in fact, it happened with me when I tried it. So I was falling into error. Even even after hearing from teachers, even after studying from teachers, I was not able to solve the mathematics problems. So what I'm trying to I'm trying to tell here that we need teacher for our material education also. Then what to say of spiritual knowledge? We definitely need a teacher. If we do not do this, then we are subject to fall into error. The process of induction by which reasoning from particular facts or individual cases one can arrive at a general conclusion is never a perfect process because we are limited and our experience is limited. It will always remain imperfect. So, see, Krishna, the unlimited and the infinite personality of Godhead, Krishna, even if we study all these scriptures, like all these scriptures, then also we will not be able to understand the unlimited, infinite Krishna completely. Why? Because he is unlimited, and anything which is unlimited and infinite, we can't understand it completely. But that doesn't mean that we should not understand him. Understanding this thing that Krishna is infinite and unlimited, this is also understanding only. This is also kind of understanding, which is difficult for people to understand. So, yes, for understanding Krishna, we always need to hear in disciplic succession. If we receive information from the perfect source, Krishna, if we repeat that information, then what we are speaking can also be accepted as perfect and authorities. So see, this is obvious thing that if we want to know about someone, then we will have to hear from that particular person only. Suppose if there is a boy, he wants to get married. So even after hearing about that particular girl to whom he will be marrying, he might have heard about that girl by his parents, by his friends, by her parents, by her friends. But until and unless he will not hear from that particular girl only, he will not be able to perfectly know about her behavior, because possibility is there that parents might be telling lie, or maybe that particular girl, she might be behaving externally otherwise, and internally she might be otherwise. So for understanding about any person, about the qualities of any particular person, it is important that we hear from that particular person only. So same way, if we want to learn about Krishna, if we want to know how great Krishna is, then it is obvious that we will have to hear from him. So hearing in disciplic succession means that we are actually hearing from Krishna only. Because disciplic succession means that whatever knowledge we are getting, it is directly coming from Krishna only. And that's why that knowledge is perfect. You yourself can experience this thing that we have been following the instructions of Krishna, which Krishna is telling in Bhagavad Gita. And it's not where Krishna is standing in front of us and he is instructing us. We are hearing it in disciplic succession, And those are the words of Krishna only, and that's why we are experiencing so many transformations in our lives. Because we are following the instructions of Krishna as it is. So if Krishna was there in front of you, he would also be telling the same thing. Man mana bhavmad bhakto madhya jimam namaskuru. You become my devotee. You pay obeisances to me. You surrender unto me, which we have been hearing in disciplic succession. So the process of parampara or disciplic succession is this very process of hearing from Krishna or from authorities who have accepted Krishna and repeating exactly what they have said. Now we will be discussing this shloka, in our next class, if Krishna is willing. We will stop here now. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada.